I'm not going to touch him if he's dirty. Are you saying about overreacted? Of course, you're cheating on me.
So picture this. Shay is standing at his own birthday party, drink in hand, and he looks a woman dead in the eye and says, "Apple pie for my pretty pie." His fiancée Annabel is standing right there. She sees it. She hears it. And in her confessional, she says something that stuck with me. She says she knows he's drunk because he's flirting with another woman right in front of her. And to her, that's not nothing. That's a big deal. We're going to get into exactly how that night unraveled. But here's the part nobody's talking about yet. While Shay's out here playing the harmless Southern charmer on television, there's a real arrest record sitting out there that lines up with his own personality a little too perfectly. We'll get to that. But first, let's talk about who Shay actually is, because by the end of this video, you're going to understand exactly why Annabel said the words, "I don't want to live my life like this." Hey, welcome back. If you're new here, this is where we break down 90-day fiancé drama without the fluff. And today we are diving deep into Shea McGuire, the man Paducah, Kentucky apparently can't stop talking about. Because by the time we're done, you're going to see the pattern. It's not one bad night. It's not one bad decision. It is a full, consistent, repeated pattern of behavior. And the wildest part is he's the one telling on himself the entire time. Stick around, because the arrest record I mentioned a second ago is going to change how you look at every single harmless moment in this storyline. Let's start from the beginning, because Shay introduced himself to us as exactly the kind of guy his storyline turned out to be. Wealthy Paducah realtor. Southern charm, famous, in his own words, for rowdy lake parties. And in the very first episode, when he's asked about his past, he doesn't even try to hide it. He straight up says maybe he kissed a girl at a party once, and to him, that's not cheating, that's just having a good time. Now think about that phrase for a second. That's not cheating, that's having a good time. That's not a guy explaining a mistake, that's a guy explaining his personal definition of loyalty, and it is a flexible one. And Annabel, his partner, who came all the way from the Philippines to build a life with him. Annabel is sweet. Genuinely sweet. Devoted almost to a fault. You guys remember the bathtub scene, right? Where she's scrubbing him down head to toe, cutting his toenails, taking care of him like he's the most important man alive. In her own confessional, she admits she rushed him into that tub because, in her words, he smelled bad. That's the level of care this woman is putting in. Meanwhile, Shay is out here debating the legal definition of cheating with a straight face. So here's beat number 1 in the pattern. Early on, Shay confesses to something at a party. He asked a woman to show him her new implants. When Annabel pressed him, "Did you do more than look?" his answer was basically, "No, but also, sometimes when I'm drinking, I don't remember everything I do." Sit with that for a second. He is voluntarily telling his partner that alcohol erases his memory of his own actions, and he's saying it so casually, like it's a personality quirk instead of a massive red flag. If somebody told you that about themselves on a first date, would you stick around? Because Annabel did, and she didn't just stick around, she suggested. No, wait. He suggested she spend the day at the spa with his daughter Allison and his friend Angie, conveniently getting Annabel out of the house while he does who knows what. And Annabel, bless her, still has suspicions that something's going on between Shay and Angie. She brings it up directly. Angie denies it. But you have to ask yourself, why does a grown man need to engineer a spa day for his fiancée the same week he's confessing to blackout behavior? Now let's bring in the ex-wife, because this is where it gets messy in the best way. Nicole, Shay's ex, is very much still in the picture, at least in terms of information. She's the one reportedly with receipts on some of what's gone on in his past. And his daughter Allison, this is the part that gets me. Allison is described as being almost amused that her dad is the one exposing himself. She always figured she'd be the one who'd eventually have to break bad news to Annabel. Instead, Shay's out here doing the job for her, confession after confession, like he can't help it. That's not an accident. That's a guy who either doesn't think what he's doing is wrong or doesn't think anyone's really going to hold him accountable for it. Okay, re-hook, because I promised you the arrest, and we are getting close. But first you need to see how far this pattern goes, because it escalates. Fast forward to Shay's birthday, which doubles as Annabel's welcome party into his world. He gets up in front of everyone and says this whole night is really about introducing Annabel, calls her the sweetest person in the world, tells her he loves her in front of the crowd. Sweet, right? Except his own daughter, in her confessional, basically warns us ahead of time. She says Annabelle's never been to one of these lake parties before, and she's happy right now, but she's probably not going to be happy after she sees her dad's actual side tonight. When your own kid is narrating your downfall in advance, that tells you everything about the track record here. And sure enough, the night goes exactly the way his daughter predicted. Shay starts drinking. He introduces Annabel to a woman named Aspen and jokes that if he were younger, Annabel never would have been in the picture, then immediately pivots to telling Annabel he loves her too, like that somehow cancels it out. Then later, serving drinks, he tells a completely different woman, "Apple pie for my pretty pie," in front of his own fiancé, at his own party. Annabel isn't stupid. She clocks it immediately. She says in her confessional that she knows he's drunk because he's flirting with another woman right in front of her, and that even if he thinks it's not a big deal, to her, it absolutely is. And then she says something that should honestly be the headline of this entire storyline. She says if this is who Shay really is, she doesn't want to live her life like this. That's not a woman overreacting. That's a woman watching a pattern complete itself in real time, in front of witnesses, at her own welcome party. And this is where Reddit exploded. Fans are comparing him to past franchise villains, the kind of guy who somehow always has an explanation, always has a reason it's not that deep, always has a joke ready instead of an apology. People are asking how exactly a small-town realtor affords the lifestyle he's flexing on camera, surrounded by younger women at every turn. And listen, I'm not saying anything nobody else has said. I'm just saying the math isn't matching. So now, the part I've been building. Around the time this season premiered, a report resurfaced, and it's honestly one of those things where you read it and go, of course this is real. Because Shay was reportedly arrested back in 2021 for boating under the influence in Florida. Let that land for a second. This is a man who introduced himself to America on television by saying he loves to go boating and drink. That was his pitch. That was his personality intro. And it turns out that exact combination, boating and drinking, had already gotten him arrested years before he ever stepped foot on a TLC set. Fans picked up on this almost instantly once it resurfaced, and the reaction was somewhere between horrified and howling with laughter, because it's almost too perfect. It's like he wrote his own headline and just didn't know it yet. And here's why this matters beyond just being a funny coincidence. It's not a coincidence. It's confirmation. Everything Shay has shown us on camera, the casual attitude toward loyalty, the redefining of cheating, the memory blackouts, the flirting he doesn't think counts as flirting, all of that lines up perfectly with a guy who already has a documented history of consequences catching up to his lifestyle choices. This isn't a character arc. This is just who he is. And the show is finally catching up to what apparently a lot of people in his own life already knew. So where does that leave Annabel? Honestly, in a really tough spot, and I don't think we should be laughing at her for it, even if some of these scenes are objectively wild to watch. She left her life in the Philippines for this. She's been nothing but devoted, to the point of literally bathing the man, and what she's getting back is a partner who treats basic accountability like an inconvenience. Her own words say it best. If this is who he really is, she doesn't want to live like this. The question the rest of us are left asking is whether Shay is capable of being anything other than exactly who he's already shown us he is, arrest record and all. Here's my honest take. I don't think this is a redemption arc waiting to happen. I think this is a guy who has been getting away with this exact pattern of behavior for years, probably decades, and the only thing that's changed is now there are cameras and receipts. The bathtub scene, the Implant's confession, the birthday flirting, the arrest. None of that is random. That's consistency. That's a personality. So let me ask you guys directly, because I want to know what you think. Do you think Shay actually loves Annabel and just has zero self-control? Or do you think he's using her the same way people have accused other cast members of using their partners? Drop your answer below, because I am going through these comments after this post. And if you thought this couple was messy, wait until you see what's happening with Mido and Debbie, because there's a detail about their relationship that recontextualizes literally everything we've watched them go through this season. And I promise you, it is bigger than anything Shay's done. That video is coming very soon, so make sure you're subscribed so you don't miss it. Let me know your thoughts on Shay down in the comments, and I'll see you in the next.